And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a new video, and I'm sitting here in my hotel room, and I wanted to get this quick video out because I'm getting lots of comments and even people emailing me the articles where they head up like this. Ford's OG Mustang falls behind its Mach E descendant. And it's almost like rubbing it in my face saying, well, since you hate EVs, what do you say to this, buddy? And I figured you deserve a response. And I think everyone deserves to have the actual talking points. Because like I say in all my videos, I'm a realist. I'm going to say it like it is. And here's how it is. I will say it for the 10,000th time. I have no problem with EVs. I think they have a place in the world. I think hydrogen probably has a place in the world. Alternative fuels have a place in the world. Most certainly, there should be all kinds of options for everybody to be able to choose what they want to drive and choose what they want to drive to avoid having the guilt of destroying the planet. And if buying an EV convinces you that you are saving the planet, despite China being over 50% EVs and having the worst air quality on the planet, I think they're number 13 or so, and the worst air quality, despite being mostly EV. And considering that 60% of the electricity in America comes from fossil fuels, and we're at like 10% EV adoption, if we went to 15 or 20%, the only way to meet the electricity demands to be able to charge all these things would be to either implement nuclear, which will be a feat in itself to get people past their fears, or dramatically increase the use of fossil fuels, so I don't know if you're really saving the planet. But I'm not an expert on this, so don't go crazy in the comments if you're busy hugging a tree right now and you wanted to let go of it to come in and beat me up. But the point I wanted to make about the Mach E is just a realist perspective. And I think it's important that we compare apples to apples versus apples to tomatoes, because while they may be a similar color and similar shape, they taste significantly different. And I think in this case, the Mach E, while it sold, I think it was, let me see, it says 51,745 units in 2024, as opposed to Ford's Mustang gas cars were at 44,003, basically a 7,700 unit difference. And boy, the EV people are screaming, look at that. That means that EVs are taking off. Not necessarily, and certainly not based on the slowing of sales. But everything slowed, so the real story will be told later. But let's talk about why. We're talking about basically a $30,000, $40,000 Mach E with covered in massive incentives, because if you look back to earlier in 2024, actually mid-2024, they couldn't give them away. If you walked by a Ford dealership, they were lined up all over the lot and around to the back. I had some pictures, I even put in some of my videos, about how many of these Mach Es were there. They weren't selling. Nobody was buying them at their standard MSRP, even with the federal tax credits. But watch, here's where things kick in. They started to do what car manufacturers have to do. They started adding tons and tons of incentives and price drops along with the federal tax credits to move these things, to make them very affordable, which is what I've been saying forever, which is why Dodge is screwed when they're coming out with a $70,000, $80,000 EV. That's just not going to sell. But getting things down to into the 30s, very low 40s even, that is affordable with massive incentives, great lease deals where they can get people to buy them. Even the Fiat 500e in Colorado, you can get it. And because of the tax credits and incentives, you can get the thing for free. Go watch TK's video. I watched another video where they, was it TFL or something, where they actually went out and bought one with no money down and no payments during the entire term of the lease. It's hilarious. So if you get the things cheap enough, they will sell, even if they're not very attractive cars, but they're great for commuters. So I would say that most people who buy those things are looking for a convenient four-door EV or economical car to get them to and from work and to commute around town. The Mustang buyers, the gas Mustang buyers, whether it be the six-cylinder or the EcoBoost or the V8 5.0s or the dark horses, whether it's, I think it's hard to compare a four-door EV to that when the price difference is significantly lower after all the incentives that they're doing to push these things down everyone's throats. But here's what you've got to know. Here's where the entire thing falls apart. Just Google this, so it's not just me saying this. Pretty much every single EV manufacturer except Tesla and maybe Hyundai, but I don't know, I haven't looked up them. But most of the EV manufacturers, whether it's a traditional automaker or it's Rivian or Lucid or something, are losing tons of money, 6 figures per car sold, per EV sold. Well, Ford is no different. Ford is losing close to, if not more than, $100,000 per EV sold, and most of the EVs they're selling are these Mach E's. So they're losing, and I've read it's anywhere between $100,000 and $130,000 per EV sold. And as they drop the prices more, that number likely increased unless they were able to cut costs. But then people are going to come and say, well, what about the Mustang? The Mustang, the gas Mustangs, everything I found online shows that the Mustangs make anywhere from a 10 to 15% profit. So those things are making money while the EVs are losing money, but the EVs are losing money in the tune of billions of dollars because the more they sell, the more they lose. So they need to sell these Mustangs. So a 7,700 car difference from a Mustang to an EV simply is just people choosing to buy the cheaper thing with 4 doors for a completely different purpose. But if you want style, you want looks, and you want a gas car, then they're going to sell a very modest 7,700, less of those things because they are in general more money, even if you look at the cheaper ones. And with the incentives and the tax credits that are being used to push these things down people's throats, why wouldn't people just go buy that Mach E thing and use it for that reason? So I think it's a good car. I think it's ugly as hell, but I think it's a good car for people looking for an EV. It's cheaper than most of them out there. And at this point, it's been around a while. So the next thing people are going to say, well, the reason why they're losing money, because they lost money when they came out with, the new Mustangs, they lose money because of all the development costs. Listen, the Mach E came out, it was announced in 2019, came out and went on sale in 2020 as of 2021. That means that theoretically we've got about almost 4 years of these things out. If they can't get that thing to make money now with advances in technology, then I don't know if there's any end in sight. But because they make that Mach E, because they make the Lightning, because they're able to sell so many of those things, they are doing what Dodge should have done. Is they have sold so many of them that it's given them the carbon offsets and helped them meet CAFE standards to be able to make these gas engines, which deliver them a strong profit, which allow them to actually make money while they're jerking around with this EV thing, which I believe should be around and is going to be around for a very long time. But I do not believe it is the future because it is not convenient and it doesn't make sense for so many people. But you want a Mach E? Knock yourself out, go buy one. But I'll tell you, the same buyer buying a Mustang isn't going to buy the Mach E. How do you offset interest rates? With incentives and incredible lease deals. Well, I think that when it comes to an EV, especially this Mach E, somebody buying a car for $300 or $350 a month is going to be a lot more of those people out there than people buying a 5.0 GT Mustang for $50,000 with almost no incentives. So that begs the question is, if they don't have to give incentives on the gas cars, but the only way they can get the EVs to sell is giving massive incentives to be able to get them to buy them, is that really a more popular car? Well, we'll see if the incentives go away as the new administration likely takes away some of these tax credits and we end up in a situation where everything's even Steven. And the only thing that's going to move those EVs is going to be dropping the price even more. So as battery technology becomes cheaper and cheaper over time, they start making things in Lord knows what countries, or even if they bring them here and they figure out a way to make their own batteries, the necessity to continue to drop the prices are going to cause these cars to lose more money for these manufacturers. But if the manufacturers can build the cars that almost as many people, if not more people, will buy. And by the way, they compared the Mustang gas engines to the Mach E. They didn't compare all Ford's gas offerings with the Mach E, because then it leaves it in the dust. Or all gas sales in America to EVs. Listen, it's smoke and mirrors. They're losing so much money on those things that they need that Mustang. So don't worry, it's not going anywhere. The gas engines are here to stay. And those of you that think they're not are just you're drinking the Kool-Aid. So with that, everybody, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and tell me I'm crazy. That's okay. Just be respectful, be kind, be nice. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.